All right, so tonight is our November 21st uh, TNCC meeting and a return from when we got started or when we dropped off in the spring. John Paul Andres here, and that's John's email address. I'm here, obviously, that's my address. Murray Lincoln's here. And so, the addresses are there. Feel free to contact us anytime. We love to talk about carving. If you have any questions or comments, or more more importantly, if you'd like to be featured on an upcoming Zoom call with a particular tutorial or something that you're working on or something you're learning about, that would really be helpful to us. Okay. And again, this is going to look like a presentation. I have a lot of slides that you folks have sent in, but all you have to do is unmute and you'll have the floor. Okay. So what we're going to do is spend just a minute open for any questions you might have or any comments. We're going to get back to our normal agenda. So we had the all about us, and that was just a process where we learn about each other, the kind of carvings we've done. And one of the purposes in that is if you see a type of carving that you'd like to mimic or learn more about, you'll know exactly who to contact on that by just viewing who's reviewed what they're doing on All About Us. We're going to talk about a couple of recent wood shows. So a few of us attended the Caledonia Hamilton wood show, and a few also attended the Niagara show. So I'm going to talk about just a few slides about the caricature carvings at the Caledonia show. Murray has a few slides that he sent me about the Niagara show, and we can talk quickly about those. We'll talk a little bit about one upcoming show that we're aware of. And Janice Hunter suggested that we include in that section just a brief discussion on roundups. So she's quite interested in attending one of her first roundups, maybe her first roundup. I know that some people on our call have been to roundups, and I know some are talking about creating a roundup here in Ontario. So we'll spend a minute talking about that. And then we'll get to the lion's share of tonight's meeting. That's what's on the bench. So you folks have sent me a lot of really nice carvings, photos of carvings, and we'll take a look at those and let you spend a minute talking about those. And although we don't have anything prepared for tips, tricks, and techniques, if somebody has something, we'll talk about that. Okay, so all about us. Let's talk a little bit about me. I know this is all the reason why you showed up tonight. Okay, my background is I'm from Kingston, Ontario. We've lived here for a little over 30 years now. I grew up in Niagara Falls in the 60s. And for those of us that grew up in the 60s, we all kind of had the same experience. I went to school every morning with a jackknife in my pants pocket, and so did my friends. And at recess, we grabbed a twig and sharpened it. My dad probably bought me a jackknife when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I learned how to carve just with that jackknife. Spent a lot of time building model airplanes, balsa wood model airplanes, and it was at a time where you did a lot of the shaping. You'd get a block of balsa wood, and so it really helped me understand how to take a two-dimensional picture and turn it into a three-dimensional form. Early in my life, we'd go to the CNE, the Canadian National Exhibition, every summer, and I was lucky enough to see the international wood carving competition at that time, and of course, fast forward 45 years later, I met the guys like Tom Gallagher, who hosted that and put that competition together. But the things that I saw there really inspired me as a young boy to carve, and so it became something that I really enjoyed doing. Also, as a young kid, I often went to the Ontario Science Centre with my family. And I'll tell you a funny story there, and I may have told you before, but there was a fella there that was in a glass sort of kiosk, and he did all of the model making for the Ontario Science Centre, all out of wood. So all the shipbuilding, every model that was in the entire Ontario Science Centre, he built. And I often thought I was too little to say anything to him, but I often thought of it'd be nice to just tell him how important that work is. And it's important for us too to do that kind of work and show people what we're doing because it inspires young people. And so anyways, Peggy and I 10 years ago were out in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, and we went to the Marine Museum there. And here was a fella doing much the same thing. And he didn't have as glorious a kiosk. He just had a table in a corner, but he was making the ship models and all the rest of it. And I watched him for a while. And I finally got to say to someone, this is really good what you're doing. And I told him the story about the Ontario Science Centre. And he listened to my story. And at the end, he looked up at me and he said, "That was me." That was the guy at the Ontario Science Center. So he had worked there for 30 odd years and retired and moved to Nova Scotia and was now a very senior man, volunteering a couple days a week at this museum, doing much the same thing. But I was glad I got to talk to him. And it always reminds me how important it is for us to carve in front of people, especially young people, because that's what they go away with. They go away with, geez, I'm going to try this in my own little way. My carving has, it started in the round carving. I did a lot of relief carving, songbirds I've done, waterfowl I've done. In the last number of years, probably 10, 12 years, I really got into caricature carving. I've enjoyed going to shows. I have a blog called tributesinwood.com that I don't keep up very well, but when I do a major carving, I do a blog so everybody sees step by step what I'm doing. And of course, being part of the TNCC has been important to me. So a little of my background. Some of my very early carvings. So these were carvings that I would have done in my very early 20s. The chipmunk was a gift from my mom. The Sheridan crest was a Father's Day gift from my dad. This was my first caricature carving, and this was actually the pattern that you see of the Okie from Muskogee, with the jug in one hand and the musket in the other. And so I modified it a little bit into a cowboy. Most of you have seen this, and this is my little Hobo, and Hobo is the dog, and Ned is the driver of the stolen pump car. And another fun carving to do, probably about 17 inches tall, so it's a good size carving. But you can see that I got into things that John Paul and I are talking to you guys about, putting those wrinkles in, painting in a way that enhances the wrinkles, doing the dry brushing to show dirt and dust and those kinds of things. And the other thing is motion. So how can I add motion to a carving? So in this case, him holding his hat, the brim rolled back, his tie blowing, the ears of the dog blowing. A lot of people were interested in the basset hound once they saw that carving, so I ended up doing a number of basset hounds for a variety of people, and this was one of them, a fun little carving to do. This is another one you may have seen. So this one really needs to be on a round table, so it's moving around, but it's called Friends in High Places. And so this guy's washing windows. There's really not a window there. It just looks like there's a window. And the three little dogs in the apartment looking at him. This one, a moving experience. So this is the guy that is moving everything in one hall, and the little dog is trying to pull back the dog chow. So that, again, a lot of fun. Again, no surprise that I do my carvings in pieces. It's not all one piece. I really enjoy doing it that way, and I feel that you can just get a lot more detail and interest in the carving by doing it that way. And this is my latest caricature carving. I guess I would have done late last year, and in terms of sort of a major project. And so School's Out, it's called, and it was fun doing this one. I've only done a couple of female faces and a little girl's face here, and it's a challenge in itself. I find it much easier to carve a man's face than I do a female's face, but a lot of fun if you want to give something like that a try. And then I had grandchildren. So then along came the grandchildren, and I started making little things for grandchildren instead of sort of major carving. So this is a little Easter thing for my two grandchildren. Halloween came along, and made a couple of Halloween carvings for them. Christmas, of course, they got each a Santa and a little elf for the family. And so fun little carvings, again, in pieces. So the stocking is separate, the lantern is separate, the sack on the guy in the middle is separate, and that type of thing. I've included this one because I've really enjoyed doing probably half a dozen bark carvings, and they're always mythical little cabins or cottages that I do. Firdos and I spent a little bit of time in Caledonia together, and I know, Firdos, you bought a chunk of bark, and it's an awful lot of fun. If you haven't done a bark carving, get yourself some cottonwood bark and give it a try. It's a quick carving, actually. And you just kind of let your mind go and your imagination go and sort of start from the top and see which way the carving heads. So you might want to give that a try. Okay, I think that's the only pictures I have. Any questions on anything you saw there? Okay, so that's all about me. Okay, the Hamilton Wood Show. Good wood show in Caledonia. I'm just going to go through these very quickly. Um, Steve put in a cute little bird here. Laird put in a nice little bunny rabbit in overalls. Dave's with us on the call. He put in a really nice carving of a dog show here for hunting dogs. What's the leash made out of, Dave?
The leash is just a piece of leather I got from that hobby store.
Oh, that's good. Nice looking carving. Claire LeMay put in a little family of skunks. Laird also put in a female caricature carving, which is kind of interesting. Love the hair. Claire put in a cowboy snowman, which was a nice little carving. Karen Walker put in an interesting one, nose to the grindstone. So that's a tape dispenser. So you can see the tape up on the toes there. So she's putting her nose to the grindstone. Dave also put in this nice one of a chainsaw carver doing a bear and a bear doing a carving of his own, I suppose. And then John put in this little road runner, which I thought was an interesting carving too. Reminded me of some of the things you do, Murray. John also put in this. I thought Wayne would like this one. Did a nice job on the dock and the lobster track. The little seagull up on the pier.
Those two hang around at the local Tim Hortons. I see them all the time.
Do you? And Stuart put in this fellow in the blacksmith shop. And then John put in this one. So this guy's getting his eviction notice and off he goes. Laird put in a little Scottish drummer. Nice carvings. Niagara Carving Show. I'll just flick up the photos here, Murray, and you can kind of speak to them if you like.
Just that pumpkin was an amazing piece. Great composition. The attitude of the guy. And of course, the ones with Margie Cooper doing, there's this character in among the Niagara carvers and also in the U.S. that he just loves carving spools, one of our own.
Nice.
So I'm doing some clicking in people here. This was quite an interesting thing. Was a grandpa that brought all of his carvings and put them in there, and it was basically about the tools, but the old machinery and that, but then he did caricature carving too. So the whole family came along to help Grandpa get this all set up. Grandpa didn't talk very much, but he was really a great character.
Nice.
I'm not sure who did that one. I didn't get the names and stuff of people. Well, that was one of the problems that working with other photographers and not always recording things. That was an issue we faced.
Mm-hmm.
But great characters.
Real variety.
Yeah, good variety there for sure. Lots of gnomes. I love these two.
I think that's a pattern that you can find and replicate.
The pine cones show up in the picture. They kind of look like they're hanging from his nose, but they're something behind him.
Yeah, yeah.
And taking the photographs, if some of you are taking shots of your own at these shows, if you could put a dark piece or a light piece of cardboard in behind the piece that you're going to do without disturbing the carving, it certainly would increase the seeability to understand what the carving's about.
Mm-hmm.
This is a golfer that's all twisted up, caps flying off, great big club that weighs oversized club within the ball and makes it about 18 inches off the tee.
I like the size of his feet.
Yeah.
Really good. Okay. Any comments or questions on any of the slides you saw there, Caledonia or Niagara? Okay, as far as upcoming shows, I am aware of similar to the Hamilton Caledonia woodworking show. Gina Downs is hosting a Toronto woodworking show, and that's January 17th to 19th of next year. It's going to be at the International Center, so Airport Road. And I know I'm going to be there for at least 1 or 2 days, and hope to see some of you guys there as well that are in the Toronto area at least. It's usually a really good show, and it is a woodworking show, so we not only have the carving competition, but we have the added attraction of being able to go and look at all the woodworking stuff. So if you're a little bit of a woodworker as well, there's a lot of really good deals and a lot of good seminars that are put on, and it's a lot of fun.
Just Mark, to comment on this, of speaking to Gina and John about the show coming up. And it's going to be very important that that show is well supported. Lots of people come to it for them. In 2020, in that January 2020 was their last show. That's when everything shut down. And this one, Caledonia show last year, and then this year again is building back. But one of the issues she's facing is that people that take part in the show and come alongside are not all doing it again. And one major one that I'm really kind of concerned about is that Lee Valley has now discontinued any involvement in shows, and they are shutting down more of their stores, going strictly an online kind of business. It concerns me because it does cut out a lot of people. It's great for younger carvers that understand you can do things online better, but for the older carvers, it is a problem. So it's something to be concerned about, really, and looking at the future. So if your club is going to be possibly represented at this show, show your support by maybe organizing different carvers to come and take their part in each day instead of having to be there for all 3 days or so, be a part of that. So we just want to support Gina in every way. It's really important to wood carving shows.
Good. I'm trying like mad to stop sharing, but I can't. I've lost my mouse control on this, so I'm going to have to leave this slide up. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about, Janice, are you on the line tonight, Janice Hunter?
I think she is.
I am. I've just been having computer problems tonight, so I just got on.
Yeah, I'm having computer problems right now. Anyways, you had a really good suggestion, I thought, to talk about roundups. And you were saying that that's something you'd be interested in joining this year or this next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say a little more about that.
I just happened to be looking at I think it was one of the Facebook groups. It might have been the character carving group that was talking about a roundup that's coming up in Utah in May. Blake Lansford, I think, also posted something about it, where it's 5 days for, I believe it was $400, but you got 5 days of instructions with 5 different instructors. And so I've never been to one. I don't know whether other people have gone to them. I don't know if I mean, obviously there's the distance, which is expensive, but the show itself didn't seem bad price, and their prices at the hotel didn't seem bad, but I didn't know whether anybody had any experience.
Okay, let's just open it up for discussion.
I think that you open it up. If John LeMay would speak up, he's in quite a few of the different shows, and he also has something kind of a news report to give to us.
Yeah, I've done roundups for the last 2 years now. The last year I did 4 roundups. Pennsylvania, Utah, Colorado, Indiana, Ohio, and they were all free. And the only thing that you pay is the blanks that you buy. There's about 15 instructors at each one, and they were lasting on most of them were 4 days long, and they last all day and all evening long. It's really a lot of fun. You learn a lot from a lot of different people, and it's really worth it. And I've been actually looking at doing something here And but there's so many issues I want to get resolved with the OWCA before I do that.
So you were saying the ones you had gone to were free, and I know this one in Utah, they're charging $400 for. So how do you
Yes.
find out about them and,
They're all online. If you look up roundups online, you'll see them. The best one we've been to so far is in Pennsylvania. It's really good. It's Honesdale, Pennsylvania, and it's
Wood Carvers roundup.
and it's in it's about 8 hours from Toronto,
okay,
and they have a campground there. You can camp there. They have cabins, and you can camp there, whatever you want. And it's a really good place. It's a really good way for carvers to get together. There was about 200 carvers there and about 15 instructors.
okay.
Mhm. Any other comments from others that have had experience with roundups?
Yeah, I have experience as well last year, but I happened to be in Florida, and there was one, the Southwest Florida Roundup, and that one was only $5 a day, and you can take. There were about 10 teachers, and you select the teacher you want to work with, and I worked with Jim Iser from the CCA, the American Caricature Association, and it was a lot of fun. And it was only $50 a day to carve with Jim, and it's all day, and they're really good. And there's all kinds. And this year, back to Florida for the winter, and in February, I'm gonna attend the roundup again, and this time Stiegel. I want to take a course with Roger Stiegel. And last year, I convinced my wife to come on the roundup, and she did a course and started to carve, which it's quite exciting for me, actually.
That's great. That's
It
great.
justifies some of my tools.
Yeah.
Question, what do you look up? Because there's a lot of things called roundup. So what do you put, wood carving roundups, or how do you look it up online?
John LeMay, can you answer that?
Well, I don't know. My wife was looking them up before. So, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the OWCA website, and I'll
Okay.
put a few links on there. And so we've been to a few in Texas as well in the wintertime, and Florida we've been as well, and most of them have been close to free. And you just basically pay for the blanks. The instructors, we've got at each location there were CCA instructors. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of CCA instructors that are willing to come up to Canada to participate in a roundup up here if we decide to have one.
Great.
So I'll put something on the website.
Okay. Thanks for that. Does that help, Janice?
Yes, it does. Yeah,
Great.
it seems like this one, like I was thinking the price wasn't bad, but like I said, I think it was $400 for, you got 5 different instructors. So, yeah,
Free,
that seems
free
a
sounds
little-
better. Free
Yeah,
sounds
free
better.
sounds much better.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks everybody for that discussion. Okay. Thanks everybody. All right. So let's turn to what's on the bench, and we'll get everybody talking about what they sent in. Okay. And so Jacques, I think I saw you on. I have 2 slides here of the same carving. So why don't you go ahead and chat about it?
Oh, hi everyone. Yes, I grew up on a dairy farm, so I love cows, and I'd been wanting to do a cow for a long time. So I made the cow, but I thought, can I leave the cow alone? So then I made the boy, probably myself when I was a kid, to go with the cow with my dog. I was not happy with the cow's face. I made it again. So this is the second head for this cow. And I'm not too happy with the face of the boy, so I'll probably be redoing it as well. Like you said, Mark, it's all made with pieces, so it will be easy to remove the piece, make a new one, and try it again.
Yeah, you did a great job. I love the head on that cow. That couldn't be better.
Yeah, the second one is better than the first one.
Yeah, no, looks really good. Okay,
Just
any
a
questions?
comment, Jacques, is that if you do the head separate from the body, with a neck on the head when you carve it, and then have a hole drilled in the body, when you make the mistakes, you can change the head.
Yes, that's what I did on the
Very
cow because it was a big piece, and to get the wood grain, I made it in two pieces. So it was easy to make a new head for the cow. But the boy, I made it in one block, so I'll have to cut off his neck and do what you're saying if I get to make a new head.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too critical. It looks okay to me, you know. It looks okay. I wouldn't be too critical of that face.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks,
Just a
Jacques.
question, Jacques, do the hands actually fit onto the udder, the teeth?
No, no, the other is too big. The teeth are too low. And also, I did not cut my block properly. His hands are facing forward rather than facing upright.
Yeah.
Uh,
So again, I was thinking I should cut his hands off and do it again, but
I
it would
wouldn't.
be too complicated.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It looks good just the way it is.
And
Nice
I guess
work.
you have to be a farmer to notice that.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Jacques. Firdaus, I have got a couple of slides here for you.
Hi, yes. So this guy, yeah, I just call him a farmer. So he was carved out from a pattern I had. He's from a 3 inch by 3 inch block of wood. He stands around 10.5 inches tall with the base. So, I just kind of had some vision in my mind and just started carving, and there it is.
Very nice.
Mm.
I like how you're starting to paint with washes. I mean, that's that to me makes a carving, and
Thank you.
it looks like he's wearing worn denim, so that's great.
Yeah, this cowboy, this is the same pattern I showed you in the Hamilton show, Mark, when I was there. So yesterday, like I carved him some time back, but then last night, I sat down and found some time to paint him. He's carved out of 2 inch by 2 inch block. He stands with the base 8.5 inches. So it's the first cowboy carving I tried. The hat was a bit intimidating to me, but I guess it came out okay. I had to spray that alcohol and water mixture spray on for the hat because the grain is a bit hard over there at the end.
Mhm.
But I just used my gouges and I was able to carve him. So
Turned out well.
thank you.
Any questions, comments for Firdaus? Okay, I don't know if is Norbert on the line tonight?
Yes,
Oh, go ahead, Norbert. I've got a few slides for you here.
this was just to take off on the Didalo work that you might have seen on the internet, and we did a group carve with the carving group at the local senior center, and everybody did a Dalo style chicken with the big eyes and everything, some silly expression on the face. And I just kept going and put a little scene together. So it's the coup at the coop. And the right hand character is the rooster, and the first three are kind of ignoring him, and he's got a response. So he's had his coup at the coop.
Yeah, the coup. I like it.
So just tried to make a little story out of it and have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah. I like the base too.
Yeah, just a piece of bark on the front edge. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And that was another character that I came across, kind of a cartoon, the cartoon style buzzard or vulture actually, and he kind of sat next to the chicken, so the logo on the stand there is "Tastes like chicken," and again it was just doing something that wasn't too serious, just having a little bit of fun and just kind of taking a break and recharging and doing some silly things.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, this was one I started a while back. I got really annoyed at a kid walking across the street, not even bothering to look up, and almost got hit by a car. So this was the walking with your phone in your face is like walking with your dot dot dot. So and this one I actually I sanded smooth. I hadn't done anything that didn't show knife marks, and I just wanted to try it. So it was just kind of having some fun and fooling around with the concept.
How did you do the footprints?
I drilled into the pine base, and then I carved out in between. And then I just covered it with some sawdust and glue to simulate the mushed up concrete around the footprints.
Oh,
And then
that's
it's
really
just
good.
painted gray on top.
Yeah, that's really good.
And we've a number of new people starting in with the group. Not that I'm any seasoned veteran, mind you, but we had a woman come in and she said, "I want to do a 3D caricature figure." And so the instructor gave her a piece of basswood, and she kind of looked at this rectangular thing and said, "I haven't got a clue how to start." So it kind of led me to a character that I was working on, and I'd used a scroll saw to cut out the two profiles, the front and the side, just to save some carving time. And I still had the bits and pieces, so I glued them together, and it was a pretty effective kind of teaching tool. The lights went on all of a sudden with a number of the people in the group. So I left it together, and I decided to stick it all together and make a piece out of it. So the motto was releasing the creative piece within the wood releases the creative piece within you. And just having a little bit of fun with something again, and hopefully making a bit of a learning tool out of it as well.
Nice idea. Okay, any questions or comments for Norbert? Norbert is going to do an all about us next month as well as John, so we'll see some more of his carvings. Thanks, Norbert.
Okay, thank you.
Janice?
I'm just getting back to carving after taking quite a bit of time off. So these were kind of patterned after Elizabeth Brown, I believe, is the artist. So I'm trying to get all my Christmas presents done in a very short time. So I'm working a little bit on the beards and trying to, I don't know, just vary them up. My beards, you can see from the fisherman and back, that's, it's just, normally I do just a straight line and paint it. So just trying a little bit of something different with the beards.
You did an outstanding job on the faces, the eyes and the cheeks and the nose. Really well done.
Thank you. And then the little fisherman on the right, the carving group or the seniors group that I'm in, most of them are relief carvers. So they just wanted to do something out of a 6-inch by 1-inch piece of wood. So they decided they wanted to do a little fisherman. So I'm just showing them, how when you do the fisherman, a fisherman very easily turns into a Santa Claus if that's the route that you want to go. The hat's very similar. And so those are some of the little guys. They're about 3 inches long. And just so we could use up that 6-inch piece of wood. And I don't normally carve that small. So that was a bit of a challenge getting the eyes and the face.
Now, the one at the bottom is joined, Janice?
Yes, I just hadn't cut it off. So
Okay.
when we were carving, they were using the bottom piece of the wood to hold and then carve it. And then I just showed them you can flip it over and carve the other side and then just cut it in half.
Yeah, great idea. I've never done that.
And then the other one on the left is again trying to work on the face a little bit and just learning some different expressions and I kind of Blake Lansford did a bit of a tutorial on Facebook, and so that's kind of going after one of his tutorials.
Really nice.
Janice, a question, where are you located and what group are you referring to when you are teaching?
I'm in Ontario, but in Northern Ontario, but it's just a seniors group. And so there's only maybe 5 or 6 of us. And so everybody does different things. And I'm probably the newest in the group. Most of them have been carving relief for quite a while. And I'm the only one that carves the caricatures.
What part of Northern Ontario?
I'm north of Huntsville, so I'm kind of north central, they call it.
Okay.
Really nice. Michael, we got a couple of slides for you.
Yeah, this was an interesting project. I was approached at a show the Thunder Bay Carvers was putting on at a fall fair, and a fellow said, I have a moose my father carved while he was fighting in the Second World War in 1939, but the horns are broken off, and I pointed out it didn't have any ears either. And he said, oh my God, there aren't any ears. That's what you're right. So he said, do you think maybe you could make new ones? And well, I just couldn't resist that, So I thought about it, and I wasn't quite sure because I fortunately had the broken antlers, horns, to go by, so I knew what size they had to be in the curvature. But I didn't really know. I've learned since, but I didn't know how to do it out of wood without it being fragile again. So I have a friend who finds sheds from real moose out in the woods when he's hunting. And he said, Mike, I was helping him with another project. And I said, Mike, I said to him, I need some real moose horn. He said, oh, I got it for you, free. So anyway, and he has a metal cutting saw. So he started the shaping. I gave him the pattern of what I wanted, and he started cutting it out on a bandsaw. And long story, so I used large Dremel cutters in a Fordham machine. Pretty tricky without creating a new belly button for yourself to hang on to those things. But anyway, so I carved those moose horns out of real moose horn. They're finished with shoe polish. It seemed to be the thing to get them the closest color. And then the ears are just basswood ears. Then I mounted them in there, and it was a very rewarding project.
Yeah.
And one that'll be a lot stronger. However, if anyone is thinking of doing this, a couple of the old timers in my club said, Mike, so how hard was that? I said, well, really damn hard. And it stinks, by the way. So all that power work is done outside. And they said, you could have used wood. And I said, oh, really? What wood wouldn't fracture along some of those lines as you got in the cross grain? And they said, Tupelo. So I haven't tried that, but if I ever get this project again, I do actually have some Tupelo. So maybe next time I'll save myself some grief.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was that project.
That one turned out nice.
Thank you. Oh, now this one, my great blue heron. Biggest carving of my life. It was inspired by one of our master carvers in Thunder Bay, probably the premier carver, Les Barrow is his name. And he did a few of these herons, and he actually had a blank available and the rough steel legs. So I looked at some of his pieces and then sort of made my own plan up for it. And there's a couple of shots of it showing it from either side. It's 48 inches tall. And then the base is another couple of inches. And I tried to make the base look like driftwood. That was from a block. And one of those islands you could see in the background out at my camp is a big white pine had fallen down. So we retrieved some of that wood from there. So that's how I got the wood for the base. I tried to make it look like driftwood. And then the carving is actually hollow and in several pieces, of course. So obviously the beak is the grain's running along the beak, obviously, and the neck and so on. There's a few single pieces that are all laminated together and with glue and pegs and so on. And then it's finished with acrylics, deft lacquer satin to finish it off at the end. Try to do washes so you'd see the wood through it. Heck of a thing. And then I had to use learn how to do. I'm a wood guy, and so like so many of you, and so I had to use an angle grinder to try and shape those legs and the talons on the toes. So anyway, the whole thing was one heck of a project. It took me over a year to do it.
Beautiful job.
It's a lot of fun.
Looks really nice. It's great that it's 4 feet tall. That's something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry, I've got a few slides on this for you.
Hello
Or
there.
maybe just this one. I don't know.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah, this is the one that I did over the summertime. It wasn't one of the best pieces of basswood that I've ever carved because it's kind of brittle. So I had a little bit of a time with it every time I would try and do some different details. But I had a lot of fun with it. I've seen this one in a carving magazine. I probably did it about 9 years ago, and I sold it at a fair, and I really, really liked it. And but it was one of those ones that was one of these lessons on sharpening your tools. And that's my big thing right now. I'm hoping, Mark, that you'll do another. I know you didn't get a chance last year to do that sharpening thing. We kept me busy, but I realized that I keep going back to an X-Acto knife all the time. I got like 50 beautiful knives, but I keep going back to the X-Acto because it's way sharper than anything I have. But when you have little details and everything else, of course, your carving knives have different shapes to them. Anyway, so I'm still working on the stone and the polishing and the honing. But anyway, this one, I had a lot of fun doing. And it's funny because I'm going to say this, but the one arm is the one holding the fishing rod. This is part of the template. It's bigger than the arm scratching his bump. But it just, when you look at it from one side or the other, that's the way the template was. And it's funny, you don't really notice it because you're looking at all the other details and with the pants or the rubber boots coming down. And so I'm really enjoying working with the paints and rubbing the stuff off and that and making it look worn so you see the wood. Debbie Paddington, I think her name is. She does all the carving books with the colors and things like that. And she usually uses like 3 colors, and every color she uses, that is not just yellow, it's a yellow or this or that. But I found using it, it really gave it an old-fashioned look to it even before I antiqued it. But anyway, it's a sharpening tool thing and that. But yeah, this was a fun piece, but it took probably 5 months almost from start to finish. One of the things sort of put aside and go, okay, well, I'm gonna have to finish this later. But yeah, I'm pleased with the way it came out.
Really nice carving. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments for Larry? That's great. Thanks, Larry. Lee, are you on the line, Lee? I've got a number of slides here for you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, shoot. Go ahead, speak to this one, Lee. I hope you didn't put yourself on mute.
Computer, so I'm a little carving of
Your audio's not great for some reason, Lee. I don't know if you have to get closer to the microphone.
I don't know. So this was a carving of a guy that he helped me out with my computer at work, one of the IT guys. So then I made a little carving of himself on his desk, and he liked it so much. So it's on his desk. Yeah.
Really nice.
And then
you got a few here I want to show.
Oh, this was just this is kind of like a doodle. That was just kind of something to do on my breaks. I've been practicing these plaid shirts a lot now. I don't know. I kind of got stuck on them. They're a little tricky, but I like them. I don't know.
Yeah, they look really good. Good face.
And thanks. Oh, these guys are all just little 1x1s. They're 1x1 by 3 inches tall. And I got a new knife there, so I was just using this little tiny knife, and I was just trying to carve something little and tiny. So it was like, and I got that from the Chip It Away, and yeah, I ordered it online though. Yeah, London, yeah.
Really
I guess
nice.
next one. Oh, this guy, it was the end of summer, so then I figured I should carve a guy in his bathing suit. I tried sandals and toes, which I've never done before, and then so like a little Hawaiian shirt with a banana bathing suit. Yeah,
really good. I like
But
how you
Tozer,
did I like how you did the legs. I can see some grain in there and I can see the knees. That's really nice.
yeah, I made sure I made a little thing for the knees just to
Yeah.
make them a little knobbly.
Yeah, that looks good.
But toes are tricky.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that looks good.
And then the next one was actually for this one. One of my friends, he had passed away, and I made this one for his parents so that they could have it. And then they just love it. So
I guess
I'm very happy about that. Yeah.
nice.
Oh,
Well, those
yeah,
are
thank
great.
you.
Any
Yeah,
comments
thanks.
or questions for Lee? Wayne did a great job in helping us understand how to paint plaid, so maybe that's something that we could go back to as a refresher as well. You've done a great job here, but Wayne had a little bit of a different process, and maybe we can get him to do that for us again sometime.
Yeah, Wayne's way was really good. This is
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, but yours look great here, Lee.
That's a
Well,
matter
thank
of
you.
opinion. I like Lee's plans.
There you go.
No two plans the same. No, I think it's great.
I think it is too.
You know, he's
Yeah.
showing some initiative and going up there.
Yeah, and
no,
the white highlights looks great.
he had one on Facebook here a week or two ago. The guy, the duck hunter. That one really cracked me up.
Oh,
The
yeah,
guy
I
was a
forgot to send that in. I have it here actually.
You'll have to send that in next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks, Baz. Or thanks, Lee. Baz, I've got a few slides for you here.
Yeah. So this is my first bird that I carved. I got last winter in Florida at a nice lady who spent the winter every Wednesday. Would go to her place, and she taught me how to do the power carving and all the steps. And that's when I arrived back in the spring. This is the project where I was. So I actually carved the stump that the bird is on, and this is my final product after. So this spring I painted it, beginning of summer, and it's a cardinal for my daughter. So I gave
Very
her that.
nice.
Yeah. So
Really
that was my
pretty.
first attempt at it.
Nice and bright.
Yeah, thanks. So the next one is what we talked about, the roundup earlier. This is the actual project that I did in my roundup with Jim Iser. So it's a scarecrow. And I actually, when I took the roundup, we were given a blank, which was just a rough out. And I totally changed it. It's not this, it doesn't look the same as what Jim proposed us to carve. So I went into class looking at it and say, I'm going to change it. And that's what I did. I actually removed the base, made the legs longer. I have the legs going backwards and if you look at the face, he's not a happy camper. He's not happy because the title of that carving, when I'm complete, it's work in progress. When I'm completed, it's going to be Those Damn Crows. And I'm going to have a crow that's going to be in front of his foot that's backwards, flying away. He might have a couple on the shoulders, one on the hat. And I just, so that's the plan for that one.
Very
I want
nice.
to work on. So the next slide is the actual technique of the trick and the technique to make the straw. So what you do is you take a little V tool and you leave a big lump of wood behind the head where you're going to do the air or around the hands. And you lift about 3 strands with the V tool. And you use the Loctite super glue, and you just drop a few drops on it. You wait a few seconds, and the wood actually comes really hard. Then what you do is you take your V tool and you insert under your previous cuts. You just move the knife a little bit. You make 3 other strands and you put glue. It's a slow process. You got to be patient, but the results are amazing. If you look at the air, they're sticking out. They're really strong. And it takes, with the actual super glue, it gives you a natural color of the straw.
Very nice.
And I really like it. So my dilemma with this carving right now is, am I going to paint it or am I going to keep it natural basswood? I have people around me are saying, "Oh, it's so nice with the natural basswood, and the straw stands out. Maybe just varnish it or something." And I think maybe I'll do that, but I will paint the crows black, and it might stand out. So I think that's where I'm aiming at.
Very nice.
And hopefully I can finish it in time to bring it to Florida in January and put it in the carving show. There's a carving show first week of January, second week of January when we're down there in Florida. So I hope to maybe put it in. So we'll see how it goes.
Very nice, Baz. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to try that technique. That's good.
Oh, I just want to mention something about Jim Iser and the way that this CCA guy gave his course. So what he did is we were about eight to 10 students with him that day. I took 2-day course with him. So you start the course, you select the carving you want to do. He has about 20 different projects, and in the class there's different people. So he gives you 15 minutes. He puts a timer, and when he's done his 15 minutes, you go back to your seat, you continue your project. He takes the next person, gives that person 15 minutes with a timer. Next one. And then after you've done everybody, you're back at the 15 minutes. So it gives you time to actually continue progressing your project. And when you get back to him, he says, "Okay, so what do you want to know? Is there something you need guidance?" And so the most of the guidance I got with him is natural, my expression. I had taken from the web a picture of a person with not a happy, and that's what I worked on with him mostly. The rest of the body and the straw and everything I actually made my own, but I focused on the face. So those 15 minutes are really good.
Worthwhile.
Go back to this. It's a good way to teach the actual caricature carving.
Thanks, Baz.
Okay.
Eric, are you on the line tonight?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, this entry is an entry for our Wood Wizard competition, kind of, that we have every month. We have an East Clutch and a West Clutch, and at the East Clutch in Ottawa, we were shown how to do a Christmas tree with a sort of spiral motif in the carving. And having done that, and then we were asked to do some sort of ornament or something for a Christmas motif for the Wood Wizard. So I did the Grinch. Now, I know most of you seem to like to see the knife strokes, but I'm sort of hung up on trying to have the bodies always smooth before I paint them. So this guy is pretty smooth. He's about 5 inches tall, made out of basswood. The presents were little blocks of basswood covered in some ribbon. The tree has some pins with the different colored heads that are pushed into the tree, and as well, I had a bit of ribbon of the icicles from our tree, and I wound that around as well. Interesting. I've used for the eyes here. These are from Michael's, the sort of semi-globular black shiny eyes. I don't know what the other people use them for, other projects, but I've used it a number of times. It's kind of neat. You just painted the white behind for the iris, and then just a small drop of glue and glued in these semicircular black eyes. I made the mistake in doing a different carving. I put a white light spot on it, which you don't need, because these are very shiny little eyes. And if you've got light around, well, you have a natural eye spot on there. So in that other work, I had 2 eye spots, unfortunately.
One moved and the other didn't, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That turned out well, Eric. I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Craig, I think you're on the line tonight. Maybe Craig isn't there. I can't see everybody, unfortunately. Craig sent this one in, so this is kind of the grumpy old cowboy just leaving the retirement home or something. Nice looking carving. I like the nose on this one. It's unique, you know, it's not the just bulbous nose you normally see. It's a real good hook nose. Good job by Craig. Okay, John Paul.
Yes, still awake.
There you go.
Yeah, this is my Christmas scene that I made for my. I'm at the Arts and Crafts Show in Moncton. If anybody's out here tomorrow,
Yeah.
we got a big craft show at the Coliseum, and this is my little Christmas scene that I built.
You've done that over a number of years, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, the workshop's been probably about 15 years old, but the rest are all within the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to tell everybody how many ornaments you made for your Moncton show?
Oh yeah. I got over 200 ornaments carved. I just finished 3. Here's one right here. Little, I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yep.
Little Santa Claus. It's a Acadian Santa Claus hat. A lot of the French Acadians up here, so I made a bunch of French Acadian ornaments.
Really nice. This is a nice
Christmas cards.
Nice scene that you made there, John Paul.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Wayne.
Yes, sir. Right here. What can I say? That's a typical South Shore redneck. No, fishing is the mainstay down here, mainly lobster. But this guy, he was an old fellow that made a lifelong quest trying to find where the largest halibut came from. And I guess that's not the largest, but it's a pretty good one. And just one that I like to do. I just finished that here a week ago. And of course, Tim Hortons seems to be the drink of choice.
Yeah. That's good. So excited he upset his coffee, huh?
Well, either that or the gull took it out of his hand. I'm not sure.
Okay.
He's not too pleased with the gull. I was going to put a white streak down across his hat. That would show you why. It's just everything's basswood excepting the 2 uprights and the cross piece. That's pumping. And I just didn't want to use that big a piece of basswood for something like that, so I skimped and fine. It works. The only other thing is I glued the halibut. I put a dowel in his nose and drilled it into the base. So, and I think it was like a 3/16 dowel. And I said, well, that's not going to be strong enough. And I wanted to make it look like he was hoisted up. So for rope, I used a piece of elastic. Went to I guess I wound up getting it at Walmart. But that was the most difficult thing to find of the whole carving was a piece of round elastic to make it look like rope. And
Nice,
of course,
nice tight rope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
And that's why I wanted elastic, so I could have it tight, but I didn't want to haul it out.
Yeah.
The rest is, like I say, it's just an old halibut fishman.
Nice work, Wayne. I like that.
A lot of fun.
Sue, you're on the line. I have a few slides for you here.
Yeah. This first guy is just a fellow that a fellow on Instagram had reached out to me and asked me if I would take part in a challenge that they were doing for Movember, and just heightening aware of men's health and men's cancers and that sort of thing. Of course, I guess a lot of men traditionally grow a beard at that time, or a mustache. But anyway, I thought, okay, I think the only parameter was that the piece that you submitted had to have a mustache. So this is my guy here. He's just he's about 6 inches tall, very tall and skinny, as you can see, and he's got a nice full mustache. And so I didn't. I was trying to position him in a place that you could kind of see some of the detail because he is pretty lean. And so anyway, I just put him on that little anvil, and then I took off the background and replaced it with a black one so that he would stand out a little better on there, and hopefully the details of the sweater would be a little easier to see. So
sorry. Yeah,
that was
really
it.
Nice little carving.
Thanks. This one is just a little. Well, he's actually about maybe 9 inches long. From the tail to the tip of the nose of basswood. There's a fellow online, I think his name is Nima Khan, that does these wood spirit fish. And anyway, one of the guys in my Monday carving group had done a couple of them, and so he had some cutouts. So I decided to try one. I changed up the detail a bit, added some teeth and what have you, changed the eye and the shape of the tail and stuff. And instead of painting it, I just put some oil on it and left him plain. So that's it for him.
Interesting little carving.
This guy was another challenge that one of the knife making companies, Badger State Blades, they had a little challenge this year for pumpkins, anything to do with a pumpkin. So I put this fellow in just for fun. He wasn't a winner, but he was a runner-up. So apparently I got a T-shirt, and I'm sure with the postal strike, I'll probably get it next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just a little guy made out of basswood. I'd say he's about maybe 5 inches tall, and it's all one piece just carved onto the base. And that's it for him. Keeping with some of the fisherman theme that's going on tonight, these are just a few that I did here and there over the course of the summer to add to my other ones that were done before. The fellow on the far left is he's about 6 inches tall, and then the little guy down at the end piece there, he's just over 3, I think. Our club did a lot of demos over the summer months, and sometimes it's hard to take larger pieces because you really got to truck a lot of tools with you and stuff. So I try to travel light where I can, and I work on these, and people come up and just talk about maybe joining our club and stuff. We've had some good luck with our demos attracting new members, and it's also bolstered our learning program, especially the introduction to carving, learning how to sharpen, that sort of thing. So
nice.
That's
I like the bright colors on these, Sue. That's really nice.
Yeah, they're fun to paint.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun to paint. I
Really
really
nice bright
enjoy
colors.
it. Yeah, it's with the yellow. I like to paint the jackets, but then make them look like they're kind of grubby and smudgy. So I just take a really light black wash, dip my finger in it, and really just kind of work it around to give them that look. So yeah,
antiqued. Very nice. Thank you, Sue.
Thanks,
Roger. I have a few slides for you here.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of the very first pieces I ever did. I didn't do it this year, but I grew up on the West Coast of BC, and we had a spare piece of cedar laying around in the shop at the senior center. So I grabbed it and tried to do a haida carving, and I realized I don't have the skills or the sharp tools that would be required to do much more than that. But I learned a lot about using V tools and U tools with it. So it was a learning experience for me.
Nice looking carving.
My favorites, the peanuts. this was one I did that you taught, and I ended up having to do I think about 400 of these damn things as neighbors and everybody else wanted one. So this is the first one I did, and I gave it away to people that wanted one, and I took a little piece of card or photograph, what do you call it, photo paper, and wrote a little story on it when I gave it to them. So
Christmas pickle.
Yes. And we have 2 Cocker Spaniels, so I was asked, well, could you carve a Cocker Spaniel? So this is the first one I ever did, and I'm happy with it. I had a bit of problems in getting the fur and stuff done, but I finalized that one, and I'll be painting it this fall, or before Christmas anyway.
Nice.
And this was a rough out I got somewhere, and I can't remember where, of a Viking. And so I had a lot of fun putting that together. And it's, as you can tell, it's not finished, but I learned a lot about doing the small details of the accoutrements and stuff like that, which I think is important when you're doing a diorama or something like that. So I had a block of wood there to try to make a concrete floor, and a shield with a couple of, I think, crossbow bolts in it, and the knife or the sword. So it was a learning experience for me.
Little chip in the axe there.
Yeah. And this was just, again, 3 pieces of wood laying around, a piece of sumac and butternut. And I guess at the time, a lot of people at the senior center were carving birds and fish. So I tried to do something by fitting the heron into where the sumac had a curve in it. And so that was a lot of fun.
Looks nice.
And this is the Christmas collection that was made at the end of last year. The gnome on the left is it was a gift to my sister. The snowman was one of the projects you introduced to the group, along with the bell down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And the one on the right was a carving that I did for I saw something on one of the Pinterest shows, and decided to try to copy that. I have a tradition where my sister-in-law always wants a carving of the Santa Claus, and the rest were things that we had done at the workshop, and I decided, instead of doing them as a Christmas decoration, I used them as gift tags. So everybody got a gift with their name on it as for their gift, their Christmas gift.
Oh, that's a good idea. Very nice.
And this is my beaver. This went into a couple of shows, and it's the title's not there, but it's a Canadian expert's opinion on cricket and baseball. And you can see the baseball bat's chewed up on the floor in front of him. He's gnawing on the cricket bat, and of course I put a little Canadian hockey stick with the flag standing there. I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot about doing that, and I'm going to try to do another one slightly similar.
Nice.
These were bottle stoppers that I made. My first attempt to do larger ones than the little small ones I'd done. And as you can see, in some cases, I'm getting the dry brushing all right. The other ones I didn't do too well, but I'll be fixing them up. Again, some of them were for Christmas gifts this year.
Nice. You have a lot of Christmas gifts to give away. That's great. Thanks, Roger. I think I can finally get my mouse back here. Okay. Well, those are the slides that we have. So thank you very much for everybody for sending those in. Really well done carvings, and thanks for the description. And hopefully it gives everybody else some ideas on what to get scrambling with, maybe for a Christmas present between now and December 24th. But certainly for some ideas next year. So we got a few minutes. Let's just talk a few minutes around what you'd like to see John Paul and I put on the agenda, starting the next meeting, but certainly next year. So one of the thoughts was maybe have Wayne come back and talk a little bit about painting plaid. That's something I haven't tried yet. I wouldn't mind seeing that again. Another thought that came up was sharpening. So maybe talk a little bit more about sharpening, if that would be interesting to a few people. Are there other things that people would like to see repeated or something new brought to the table for us to deal with?
Hi, guys. Murray had mentioned last year at the end of the year, before we signed out, about AI.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So Murray, you've been pretty active in using AI to help inspire you on and create almost a 3D model for you on your carving. So that might be something we could bring and give you some time to do that.
Sure.
John Paul, I don't have a piece of paper here, so why don't you write these things down for us?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sharpening, AI, and maybe a review of the plaid painting again.
And also, I like the way when you did the challenges each month that gave us sometimes out of our comfort zone, wrinkles, shoes, hands,
Right on.
whatever it is. And I thought that was a really good idea because it got us trying something that we really weren't comfortable with. And then it made us better because we got out of our comfort zone, but tried different things. And anyway, that's one of the other ones I thought was, it helped me be a much better carver last year by doing that.
That's good. And it doesn't have to be a full carving. Like you say, it could just be wrinkles, just do an arm with wrinkles or something like that. Yeah, that's
I
great.
agree 100%. The challenge was a good feature.
Okay.
And it also gives us a reason to tune in the next month too. So
yeah.
No, that was good.
Good. Any other thoughts on that?
Along the line of the monthly challenge is the possibility of giving an actual idea to carve around, like maybe a barbershop setting or milking a cow. Some specific idea that may not be just 1 month to do that, but it was, if you set up, maybe I thought of like maybe 4 challenges a year.
Yeah,
with that idea in mind, so you've got enough time to do something. In
That
some
might
of the
be
art
good.
programs that I'm involved in, that's what happens. They give you an idea that you should start to work towards, and then you have to develop an image around that idea.
That sounds good.
Okay.
I belonged to a carving forum here a few years ago, and they had I don't know if you call it a challenge or what, but they took a piece of wood, or I think the guy sent it out, and it was like a section 4-inch piece off a yardstick or something like that. But you wouldn't have to send it out. Each person could, if you specified a 1 by 1 by 3, and that was the only thing they specified, carve something. And you'd be amazed at the different things that you saw come in. Like people would look at the piece of wood, and one guy would carve a fish, or somebody else would be a Santa, or you never knew what was coming. But it drew a lot of interest.
Good. Yeah.
That
What
sounds
about
good.
carving ears?
Yeah.
Ears? Yeah.
Every character seems to have a different shaped ear and stuff like that. And I was wondering if we could do that. I think you did once with a hand, but we could maybe do an ear for character carvers.
Good.
On the list.
Mark, I'm interested to make some bottle stoppers. And I was wondering what kind of cork to use, or what size dowel to drill in and put in. So something like that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, talk about that. Roger's done an awful lot of those, so maybe that's something Roger could lead in one of our sessions and talk about what he's been using for the stopper itself that fits in the bottle. That'd be a good one.
Yep.
One thing that happens in my experimenting is I don't stop with just the knife marks on it. I go with smaller and smaller cuts, and finally I have to sand it. Make it smooth, even if it's got wrinkles in it. I've got to put the wrinkles, got to be smooth and wrinkled, sand it out. But pushing myself to try flat plane carving was an exercise that I could not believe how difficult that was. Just to go a few strokes and have a carving appear out of it and be happy with it. And break this compulsion to make it smooth.
I'm all for that, aren't I, Fred and Roger?
I do it all the time. I've got when I carved the one carving I did of the pot-bellied old biker with his belly hanging out and the leathers on. His leathers are so tight and so shiny. It look like real.
I walk into the carving group in Kingston, and somebody invariably yells out, "Hide the sandpaper."
I don't know if we've got anybody that does flat plane carving, does the illustration of how to do it.
Yeah, that
But
would be
it would be
interesting.
an interesting one for, like a dog carved flat plane or a hound.
Yeah, something simple. Yeah, good ideas. Okay, that gives us a little list to start with anyway, and so I hope you all enjoyed tonight's session. I certainly did. There were terrific carvings you sent in. Thanks very much. And I think our next Zoom call is December 19th, so just prior to Christmas. So we'll have something ready for you as a suggestion for that session. And again, whatever you carve between now and then, make sure you send me in some pictures so it's part of what's on the bench. And Norbert and John Paul will be talking about the All About Us piece, and so we'll have them featured and should have a good meeting.
Glad to see everybody back. Glad to hear.
Yeah, it is good to see everybody.
Mark,
Glad to be
just
back.
one thing.
You bet.
One of the girls at our carving group gave me a piece of willow, and I don't know if you can see the color here of it, but its color's almost like cottonwood. But it's a lovely piece of wood to carve. It's even easier to carve than basswood.
Wow.
But if anybody wants to try it, come across willow, I would suggest they try it.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to sign off. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night and a great few weeks, and see you again in December.